So the psoas, which maybe you do or do not know much about, connects. It initiates at your low back, lumbar spine, about L2, and goes all the way up about right where your thoracic spine starts. So actually quite a ways up your back is where it starts. And then it pulls through your pelvis and then reinserts right at the top of your femur. So it actually doesn't touch or connect to the bones of your pelvis, comes through and goes to the femur. And so when you have a very tight psoas, you can essentially, these are fun terms, cheerleader or cowboy. So cowboy meaning that the pelvis has to lift up because, again, this is shrinking the space between my low back and my pelvis. So cowboy, tight ass. Or cheerleader is the other way that it can kind of physically manifest, where your low back is pulling forward, and that is also shortening the length of your psoas. So either hips will come up or low back will come forward. So you can kind of think about maybe if one of those positions seems to resonate with you in terms of how you hold your pelvic girdle. All right, so just a little brief intro into the psoas. And then for tonight's class, a blanket or a block, and then a strap. A strap can be a scarf. And if you don't have a block, then for this first, you can use a dog. Now, for this first part, you might want to grab a pillow or something that you can kind of scrunch up, and we're going to lay over that to start to open our back. All right. So grab in your props, and I will get this light music going again. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to start with laying down over the block. Hey, you're on my mat, Rufus. Uh-oh. Okay. So if you're using a block, you want to make sure that this edge comes right at your transition between lumbar and thoracic spine. So it's where the curvature of your spine goes from being concave to convex. And I think it's all ladies tonight. So you can typically find that by finding that edge right across your bra strap. And then you'll slowly lower yourself down. If you'd like to, you can place a second block or a pillow underneath your head. And then begin with your knees bent, feet planted on the mat. So this is going to allow for a little bit more ease into that low back area. If you want more curvature in your spine, choose a smaller prop to go underneath your head. And then you can start to slip your legs along. You can let your toes drop out. Palms open up towards the sky or the ceiling. Another thing you can do with your hands if you want to tune in to your breath is bend your elbows and bring your fingers onto your ribs. Somebody's needy tonight. All right, then begin to notice the depth of your breath. And as you exhale, see if you can let your spine release over the props below it. Inhale. Starting to transition just into breathing in and out through your nose. And exhale. So you're going to have to go in the front, Rufus. Go on. Oh. Keep breathing. You know what? Rufus is hungry. Dinner. He didn't want to hang out on the mat. He wanted me to feed him. Very food-driven dog. All right. So with lips gently sealed, breathing in and out through your nose. Take 3 more breaths here on the mat. Inhale 2. Exhale. Inhale 3. And exhale. And then if your feet are extended, gently bring your feet back in, knees up, and roll over to one side, enough that you can remove the prop that's underneath your back and underneath your head. Make sure your strap is within distance and roll back onto your back. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. Now, if you need a little extra cushion, you can bring some pillows, or you can bring your blocks and set them underneath your knees. And then with the outside of your feet against the ground, bring your hands right to your hip points. Maybe you can even feel that psoas as it pulls through, especially if it's very tight. So in this position, the head of the femur is exposed, and in external rotation, you can really find that insertion point. Keep the bottom of your feet down into the mat and see if you can lift just your heel up. Now, when you lift your heel up, you might notice that your pelvis starts to pull away. See if you can anchor your pelvis back down. Use your hands to keep your pelvis anchored. And then keeping that pelvis anchored, can you lower your low back down to the mat? Feel automatically your core will start to engage. Heels lift. Press the pinky toes down into the mat. Take another breath in. See if you can relax your glutes. Exhale. Last time, inhale. Relax your glutes. Keep your pelvis drawing down, not lifting up. Exhale. Remove your hands, bring them to the outside of your knees, and gently draw them closed. All right, keeping your right foot planted, draw your left knee in and give it a gentle squeeze. So this should feel like a nice release. When you draw your knee in, you are shortening your psoas. You're anchoring your low back down. All right, with that foot drawn in, you're going to take your strap or scarf or belt, place it across the bottom of your foot, and press straight up towards the ceiling. Now you're going to want to make sure that the strap is across the middle of your foot, so it rests right into your arch, and your leg is perpendicular to the ground. If you can, and you have that hamstring Flexibility right now, you can extend the right foot long. Keep now the toes flexed up towards the ceiling, right leg active. All right. Now taking both sides of the strap in your left hand, let your left leg drop out to the side. Right hand is going to anchor your right hip down. So as you go out to the side, especially if your legs are a little heavy, very muscular legs, you might notice your right hip starts to lift. You want to use that right hand to anchor it down. And then your left leg can go down to the floor. You might keep it hovering. Or if you have a prop that is of a great height, you can set that foot down onto the prop. Choke up as much as you need to on your journey down. And then press through the ball and the heel simultaneously of that left foot. Imagine with the right leg like you are stomping into the base of a wall. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Legs should be perpendicular, or it can be a little bit wider down towards your heel if need be, depending on the flexibility you have around this femur head hip connection. All right. Another deep inhale and exhale. Inhale, slowly draw your left foot up. You're going to switch, grab the strap with your right hand, and then take your left hand and take your thumb, nestle it into your hip crease on the outside, pull it forward, anchor it down. Now start to draw your left leg across just so it's about in line with your right shoulder. Press through the heel and the ball of that foot, but don't let it lift. Instead, using your left hand, manually hold that hip down. Start to feel a good stretch on the outside of that left leg. Breathe in and out. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Shoulders should be resting down on the mat as well as the back of your head. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Start to let the left leg drop. Left hip can now lift up, and you can bring it all the way across. Again, it might hover. You might place it on a prop or on a wall. Extend your left arm out for a supine twist, and you choke up with the right hand now on that strap. Keep pressing your right leg straight. Take a deep breath in and out. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Bring the left leg back up. Recenter your spine on the mat. Draw the left knee in and remove the strap. Place the left foot down. Draw the right knee in. Give it a gentle squeeze. So again, letting that psoas relax. And then take your strap, plant it across the middle of your foot, and press it straight up to the ceiling. Decide here whether or not you want to keep your left leg bent or start to extend it long. And if you extend it long, keep that left foot active, toes flexed, and you want them to be straight up to the ceiling. So this leg is not rotating out. Instead, there's zero rotation. Scooch you away from the wall. For me, grab and choke up with your right hand. Using your left hand as an anchor on your left hip, let the right leg drop out to the side. Again, maybe placing it on a prop, letting it drop down to the earth. Press through that left foot as though you were stomping on a wall. That'll help keep this side more anchored. And then press through the heel and the ball of your right foot, as though you're reaching it away. Choke up. Keep your shoulders and head down. Gaze up. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. Finding a nice easy cadence here. Letting your inhale deepen your stretch. And the exhale, finding a little bit of settling into the posture. Inhale. Stretch. Exhale, ease. One more time, breath in and out. Right. Inhale, bring your right leg back up to center. Reach up with the left hand, choke up on the strap. Right thumb is going to nestle into your right hip crease on the outside. You're going to pull your fingers down, keeping your thumb nestled in, and anchor them forward towards this extended left foot and down to the mat. Now let the right foot come just past midline. So your big toe is pretty much over your left shoulder. The left arm is straight up. Pull forward with that thumb. Press through that right foot, and you should feel pretty strong sensation on the outside of your right leg. Whew. Breathe in. 1. And exhale through your nose. Breathe in 2. Exhale through your nose. Breathe in 3. And exhale through your nose. All right, inhale. Exhale, release your right hand, bring it out to the right side, and then let your right leg come all the way across. Your right hip will now lift. Hips might even be perpendicular to your shoulders here. And then you will drop to the outside edge of the extended left leg. And if your left knee is bent, then you're not going to come down as much. And if you were doing that for hamstring purposes, you might want to extend it here to get this little gentle twist. So supine twists are a great way to open up your low back. A lot of times we think about these in terms of digestion and twists as to what's happening in the front of our body. But by pulling this hip over, you're releasing right in that lumbar spine. So right at the connection point of your psoas. Keep pushing forward through that right foot, so the top leg. Inhale brings you to that edge of sensation, and then exhale, ease. Letting yourself relax just a little bit in your muscles to settle into the pose. Another 2 breaths here. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And slowly bend your knee. Come back up into center. Remove the strap. And then gently bring left and right knee into your chest. Give them a gentle squeeze. Feel your hips lift slightly off of the mat. And then move your fingers to right behind your knees. We're going to start to rock and roll, but only to a place where you find enough momentum to balance on your hips. So this is Navasana boat pose. Flex your toes back. Using your hands behind your knees, pull your chest up. So these poses for me can really aggravate or bring a lot of awareness to my psoas because I'm engaging my psoas. What you want to do is see if you can engage your core more here. Lift your low back. You can straighten your legs. If you do straighten your legs, press more through the ball of your foot and stretch and spread your toes. Yeah. You can release your arms out to the side, and you can come back into any spot. You can also do one tiptoe down if this is a lot on your core and you feel yourself rolling and rounding in your low back. Also, if anybody tonight is pregnant, this is a great option too, this tiptoes, ballerina toes. Right. Take an inhale and exhale. Inhale just halfway. We'll do Kapalabhati breathing for 10 breaths. Sharp, quick exhales through the nose. All right, bring your hands to your knees, plant your feet down, and then draw your chest up. So we're gonna do that 3 more times. Kapalabhati breathing. Let's practice that here together. Kind of threw that at you. It's a sharp, quick exhale through the nose, like you had a bug in your nose. And you're only using about half of your breath capacity, this lower half. You think about snapping your navel back towards your spine. So it makes you engage your core and it moves the breath and body awareness into this area of the body. So we're really focusing on this area right around the hips, lower abdominals, top of the legs. All right, let's do that again. The inhale, by the way, will just come naturally. Focus on the exhale. Don't worry about counting. I will count. All right, hands behind your knees. Pull one or both legs up. And if you're tip tapping, then just switch sides in between rounds. All right. Inhale. Exhale completely. Inhale 1/2 and then 10 sharp exhales. Hands behind knees, bend your knees, bring your feet down, hands to the top of your knees, pull your chest up. Take a breath and out. Last time. So if you're doing one foot down, you'll switch sides. Hands behind your knees, lift your legs up. Keep your chest lifted. Come to straight legs, maybe arms extended. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale 1/2. Think about snapping your navel back. 10. Bend your knees, plant them down. Hands onto the top of your knees, draw your chest forward. And then this time we're gonna lower all the way down onto our back. Shoulders down, gently press the top of your head down. Walk your heels in. Femurs are parallel. Flip your palms up and press the back of your hands down. Thumbs are on the outside edges of your mat or maybe a little wider. Pressing down through the big toe mound in the inside of your heel. Inhale, press up to bridge pose. Maybe walk your shoulders a little bit closer to your heels and a little bit closer together. And you're gonna bend your elbows and bring your hands to the outside of your hips. Walk your elbows in, and then palms are supporting both of your hips. So it's a little bit more of a lift than you would generally get if you were just pressing up into bridge without using your hands as props. Now press more through your feet. Inhale, see if you can lighten the load that's in your palms so your hips lift a little bit. Exhale, let your hips rest more into your palms. Fingertips are wrapping around. Thumbs can also wrap around, or they can come to your sacrum, your low back. Inhale, press through your feet to lift your hips a little bit higher. Relax your glutes a little bit. Let this be more of a work in your feet, in your quads. Draw your knees more over your toes. They're not really going to move, but it's going to lengthen your femur. Exhale, drop your hips slightly down. Let the weight into your hands increase. And one more time. Inhale, press up. This time, slip your hands away. Exhale, slowly lower all the way down. All right, open your feet out wide. You're going to drop both knees to the right side. So the right knee will come in towards your mat. Start to feel a big stretch across the front of this hip. Left hand can come to the inside of your left knee. Inhale, reach your right arm straight up. And as you stretch through your right fingers overhead, see if you can press the inside of that right knee down. So this is a pretty big stretch along the top of your hip and into that psoas. Now, if you're like, I kind of feel it, but I want to go deeper, you can take that right hand, grab your right foot, bring it in, heel towards your glute. So you're pressing the top of that foot down, kind of more like a half hero's pose, and then reach up. This is pretty intense, kind of almost like your leg is a rubber band and wants to just shoot off into space. Whew. Take 2 more deep breaths here. Last one. Inhale, stretch through your fingers. Press your right knee forward and down. So you're stretching away from midline, middle being the pelvis. And then release the right hand back down. If you folded your leg, guide that knee out or that foot out, and then bring your feet down, both knees up. Okay, we'll move right on to the next side. Drop both knees over to the right. The left knee, inside of that knee is going to reach down towards the mat. Right hand can rest on the inside of your right knee. And then stretch the left arm up, away from your pelvis, and then press that left knee forward and down. If you wanted to take it deeper, reach down with your left hand, find your left foot, pull it in, heel towards the glute. Ooh, hamstring cramp. And then you press down with the top of that foot, reach the left arm up. All right, 3 more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, deep breath in. And then release the left hand down. Slide the left foot out if you tucked it in and bring both knees back up. Right, using your hands, draw your knees in. And then drop all the way over to one side. Slowly press yourself up into all fours, doing a little spin. All right, we are going to move into some downward dogs, and we're also going to do some work in a low lunge. So you may remember that I've injured one of my knees. So I'm going to use a blanket here as a cushion. You can also, as we drop down into a low lunge, fold the mat in half and set your knee on that. If you like the idea of using a cushion of a blanket, then place it across the middle of your mat And then you'll do your downward facing dog over that. So hands under your shoulders, walk your heels back or toes back so they stack over your heels. Then bend your knees gently, press up and back, downward facing dog. Spread your palms, lift your hips as high as they'll go. Drop your head down. Just pedal out your feet a little bit here. Gazing back at your feet, you want them hip-width distance apart. Lift high onto your heels. And then exhale, drop your heels down. Keep your palms planted, fingers spread wide. Weight into that spot between your thumb and your pointer finger, keeping that anchored onto the ground. One more time, inhale, lift your heels high. And then exhale, drop them down. This time, inhale, heels high. You're gonna drop both heels down to the left. So you're on the outside of your left foot, inside of your right foot, feet flexed. Press up and back, relax your head. Downward facing dog, just a little shift in the leg. Inhale, come back to the balls of your feet, lift your heels high. And then exhale over to the right. So you're on the outside edge of your right foot, inside edge of your left foot. Keep pressing more through that right hand. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, drop your heels down. Inhale, sweep your left leg high. Exhale, bring your left thigh to your left ribs and come forward. So sometimes we bring our knee forward after we've transitioned into plank. This time I want you to bend the knee, bring it to the ribs, and then transition forward into plank. Inhale, left leg high. Thigh meets your ribs, draw it forward. We'll practice that one more time. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, thigh to ribs, bring it forward, and then bring your left foot down. Draw your chest forward. Lift your gaze forward. Tense up onto your fingertips. You can also, if you have two even-sized blocks, place your hands on the blocks to get a nice long lunge. Press through that right heel back out behind you. So that right leg is super strong. Take another breath in and then out. Slowly lower that right knee down onto the mat. Bring both hands up onto your left thigh. And then we did this, I think, last week. You're going to have your left hand, keep it on your left thigh. Reach your right arm up. And then exhale, stretch up and overhead. Draw your navel in. So if you have one of those two cowboy or cheerleader type natural hip flexion, notice here if you let go of your core. See if you can draw your navel in. I feel like I'll just keep pointing to things. So draw your navel in, stretch long through your side body so that your core is engaged here. And with your left hand, keep drawing that left knee in so it doesn't rock out to the left side. Then reach forward with that right hand and then bring it out wide off of your mat. Fingers a little bit over to the side. Come forward in your lunge, bend your right knee, and then reach around with your left hand, capture your right foot. If you cannot reach, use a strap or just go towards that general direction. Relax your right ear towards your right shoulder. Try and keep your left foot planted down on the mat. You can pivot those toes a little bit out to the left side. Kick a little bit with your right foot into your right hand or into the strap to pull your left shoulder back. Notice if, again, you let your core go and you're really just using the bones to hold you up here. See if you can press more, engage your muscles to find some integration. And notice if you can get a little bit deeper or find yourself moving slightly to get a stronger pose. Slowly release the right foot. Bring that left arm around, plant it to the inside of the left foot, and shift back. Ardha Hanumanasana, both hands to the inside. Pull your left toes back, straighten that left leg. Inhale and exhale. Come back forward, plant both hands down. Lift your right knee. Step back into a plank pose. And if you have your blanket, it's fine to leave it there. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. All right, untuck your toes. Reach your hands back behind you. Palms in towards your hips, thumbs down, pinkies up. You can stay here or interlace your hands at your low back. Pull your knuckles back, open your chest. Activate your legs. Inhale. Lengthen through the crown of your head and press through the ball of your feet. So not so much an arc in our back, but instead length. If your feet started to spread out wide, draw them back together, hip width distance apart, though you can't actually see that. So just think about pulling them together like you're squeezing a ball between your calves. Open your chest, take a breath in. And then exhale, lower down to the mat. Hands come underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes. Inhale, press up and back, downward facing dog. Spread through your hands, anchor them down onto the mat. Relax your neck. We'll do those heel drops one more time. Inhale, lift your heels high. Exhale, drop them to the left. Press through the left hand. Hips high. Inhale, come back to center. Heels high, exhale to the right. Inhale, press more through the right hand. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bend your right knee, bring your thigh to your ribs or as close as it'll come. Imagine like there were Velcro there. And then keeping that, draw yourself forward into plank. Point your toes so that your shin can be as high off the mat. Inhale, lengthen back, straighten your right leg. Exhale, bend your right knee, draw it in, thigh to ribs, Velcro stick, and pull forward. Last time. Inhale, right leg long. Exhale, bend your right knee, draw your thigh to your ribs. So this is shortening and easing the psoas. Pull forward, and then step your right foot down. Make any adjustments that you need to. In the length of your lunge, tense your fingers or pull in your blocks. Lift your gaze and pull your chest through. Keep your left leg very strong, very straight. Inhale and exhale. Last time, inhale. Exhale, lower your left knee down to the mat. Walk both hands up to find your right thigh. And then cushion underneath that left knee if you need it. So again, you can be on a blanket or you can fold over the mat. Right palm slides just behind or up from the knee at one of the heads of your quad and just gently keeps it guided in. Inhale your left arm up. Right away, notice, did you let go of your belly, your core? Maybe you started to feel a little collapse or compression in your low back. So you want to draw out just slightly. So notice the hanging out versus core is engaged. You can see even in the screen how it takes a big sway out of my low back when I do that. So I have to catch myself all the time. It's really easy to just kind of collapse into here. This is not a yin class. And we'd be a little bit more propped up with props. Left arm up. Keep guiding the right knee in, just so that you're not collapsing on the outside of that right foot. And then stretch the left arm overhead. Find a deep opening now in the left psoas. And you can let this right knee drop forward. But again, we want integration in our muscles here and not collapse. So check your core, check your low back, check if you're pressing down with that right foot into the mat. And let your ear drop to your shoulder. Take another breath in. And then exhale, start to work that left arm forward. Stretch, reach, 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 and bring it outside of your mat. Left fingers a little bit over to the left side. Come forward. So right away, you can see that my left thigh is a lot closer to the ground. As you start to bend your left leg, you're not on your patella or your bursa, which is right on top of your patella, which apparently what I fell on. No bueno. So you're on the head of your quad. Reach back with your right hand, capture your left foot, and now press into the floor with your left hand. So that's this bottom one. Press into it. Don't just hang on it like a dolly painting. Instead, press away from the floor. Open your chest. Kick a little bit with that left foot into your hand. Open your chest. And then drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. You'll notice my right toes are turned a little bit out to the right side, but my right foot is still fully planted on the mat. And I still have pressure on the inside as well as the outside of this front right foot. Take 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. And inhale, exhale. Slowly release that leg. Sweep your right arm forward, plant it to the inside of your right foot. And now you want to pivot those right toes backward. So the foot is running parallel with the length of your mat. Start to straighten that right leg. Shifting your hips back over your left knee and then pull your toes back. Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. Inhale and exhale. One more time, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Come back forward, plant your right foot down on the mat, plant both palms down, tuck your back toes, lift and straighten your left leg. Then pressing into the mat, see if you can lift and then plant your right foot back, coming into plank pose. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. All right, this time we're gonna work on bow pose, not boat, but bow, on our bellies. If you know that bow pose is maybe too much for your low back, then you can take Salambhasana, hands by your side or palms interlaced. Otherwise, we're gonna bend both knees, reach back for our ankles. And once you get your ankles, zip your knees back towards each other, flex your feet. Engage your core, and then keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. So you're not cranking your head forward to see forward, but instead your gaze should be down at your mat. Curl and flex your toes, and then begin to kick your feet up towards the ceiling and a little bit out to open your chest and bring this more onto your belly. Inhale. Exhale. Keep squeezing those knees towards each other. Open your chest. Breathe in and out. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Release. All the way down. Bring one ear to the mat. And then as you come down, let yourself melt. Like you're a stick of butter on a warm surface. Letting all those boundaries between bone and muscle and the floor begin to blur. Another inhale and exhale. Then bend both knees, feet up in the air. Let both knees drop to the right and to the left. Just a slow little tick-tock. When your feet come back up to center, relax them down, and then tuck your toes. Bring your palms back under your shoulders. Lift your chin into midline. Activate your legs. Draw your shoulder heads back. Inhale. Press up. You can always do knees down. And back, downward facing dog. We won't need the blanket anymore, but we will want potentially a block near the front of the mat. And if you don't have a block, I would get a can of soup or something that you can press into. You can also use a water bottle, especially if you've got a boot on the bottom, an anti-skid pad. Inhale, lift the left leg high. Bend the left knee, thigh to ribs, and draw forward. Exhale, plant the left foot down. Keep the right leg lifted and strong. Inhale, pull your chest through. This time, a little bit different. We're going to come into warrior two. So pivoting on the right ball of your foot, ground the right heel down so it's now perpendicular to the front foot. Lead with the right arm, stretch up and overhead, and then inhale, come all the way up, Virabhadrasana 2. So hips are open, shoulders and hips are in the same plane. Stretch your arms out wide. So this can feel very interesting in the pelvis when you're thinking about what your psoas is doing. This leg is externally rotating. So the head of that, or the connection point of that psoas, is actually very exposed. And the back leg is internally rotating in this pose. So that connection point is actually dropping in and away. That can pull your pelvis forward. So do your best to keep your pelvis open and in line. So if this back psoas is really tight, that's when you might start to notice that you're dropping forward. There's a weight more on the inside, the big toe mound of that back foot, and your heel starts to get a little bit lighter when that drop happens. So keep yourself open. Inhale, arms up. Take a deep breath in and out. I'm going to move into reverse warrior. Inhale, drop the right arm down the back leg, lift the left arm up. Feel a stretch now, pulling that psoas nice and long on the front. From here, inhale, straighten your front left leg. So long line all the way from the left toes. You make sure that you're not locking out that left foot. See if you can actually pull those left toes up off of the mat. Boop. So just the pad of the foot is down. That's going to keep that leg a little bit more engaged. Inhale, come up. Shift forward and move into Trikonasana pose. Now this is where the block is going to be helpful, bringing that left hand to the outside of the left leg. So block, if you've got a water bottle, you can just either press your hand into the top of the water bottle, maybe cup it around the neck. Again, you want to make sure that you're not totally locking out that left leg. Keep a gentle bend. Bring the right arm up. See if you can lengthen the crown of your head forward. You'll notice if your pelvis is wanting to dip in, you can even bring your right hand onto your right hip. Manually pull it back. Give yourself a little adjustment. All right, slowly bend in this front leg. If you're using a block, you're going to walk the block forward and bring your right hand down to your right hip. Walk that back foot in. Walk that left arm out. So you want it still to the outside off of your left pinky and about a foot in front of you. Gazing down to start, begin to transition and press through the left leg to lift the right leg up. Your hips are going to be more square to the ground. Find a good foundation, gentle bend in the left leg. Again, right hand to the right hip, open. Activate and press through that right foot, just like we did when we were on the ground. So this is a very similar position as when we had that strap and we were lying on our back. Maybe lift your right arm up and your gaze can slowly move from the floor, potentially to the wall in front of you, or hardest drishti or focus point is up towards that lifted hand. That can also sometimes pinch the neck. So don't feel like you have to go there. Maybe just gaze right forward is enough. Keep your core engaged. Stay here or bend your right leg. Reach back with your right hand. Capture the front of that foot. Bend gently into your left standing leg. Begin to kick that foot into your hand, hand into your foot. In and out. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Slowly release. Extend the right leg. Reach the right arm overhead and down to the ground. As your shoulders square, square your hips as well. And then step back with the right foot, coming back into a lunge. Plant your hands. Step back with your left foot, downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet or find 3 breaths here of stillness. All right, one last side. I'm going to switch around so I'm still facing you. You won't do the switch. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Bend your right knee. Bring thigh to ribs. Exhale, draw it forward and through. And plant the right foot down. Tense your fingertips up. Nice strong left leg. Move your gaze up. Draw your chest up. Deep breath in. Exhale, pivoting on the back, big toe mound. Bring the heel down perpendicular to the front leg. Stretch your left arm up and forward. Inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. All right, keep this back leg super straight, super strong, and see if you can pull this right knee a little bit more forward. So you have as close to a 90-degree bend in that front knee as you can. Bring your hands to your hips. Notice if you feel that draw of the left hip forward. Manually draw it back. Find that external rotation in the front thigh. And there is going to be a slight internal rotation, but you're resisting that in the back. You're resisting dropping that knee in. Very exaggerated. You want to feel an outside pressure on that back leg. Reach your arms up. I like to keep my gaze actually sometimes just forward. That's more of like a forest thing versus over the front fingers, but you do you. Inhale, exhale. Inhale into reverse warrior. Now you can do a check as you guide that hand down your leg. Is it strong? Is it engaged? Pull your right fingertips up. Lengthen through the right side. And now inhale, press through that front leg, straighten. Curl your toes up maybe so that you're not locking out, but instead keeping a gentle bend and keep that length. Trying to keep your hips nice and square. Inhale, come up, arms wide. Shift forward. And then exhale down, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Using a block or water bottle or prop, if you like, underneath this right hand. I like to use it most of the time anyways, especially if I haven't done a ton of hamstring opening. And if I know I'm transitioning forward into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. All right, again, notice if you are locking out this front knee, maybe curl your toes up, think about lifting your kneecap, and then opening on this left side. Take another 2 breaths here in your triangle pose. Really press through that bottom arm to lengthen up through your left fingers. And then drop your left hand down to your left hip, because this is going to be your guide. Bend your right knee. And then you're going to shift your prop forward. Heel toe your back foot in a little bit closer. Shift the prop forward again. And if you take your fingers and trace it along the outside of your foot, you want to make sure that your hand or your prop is landing to the outside of that. If you're to the inside, it can be really hard to find a balance. Then press through your right leg to lift your left. Keep your left leg super strong. The more you press through that foot, the lighter it will become. Keep a gentle bend in your standing leg so that you have the ability to make those small adjustments. And then press your hand into your prop. Stack your hips. Stack your shoulders. Lift your left arm back up. Find your foundation. Keep pressing through both feet and both palms, well, palm and fingertips. And then begin to shift your gaze, maybe forward, maybe up. That gets a little wobbly. Decide if you're going to stay here. Ooh. I should have also probably said you could do this against a wall if you're just feeling real wobbly tonight. You can actually just press your back up against the wall. All right, so just decide if you want to stay here or bending that left top leg. Reach back, find that foot. Press more through the right leg and then kick your foot into your hand. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last inhale, slowly release the left leg. Reach the left arm up overhead and then planted at the front. Square hips, square shoulders. Move the prop out. Step back with your left foot. Step back with your right. Take an inhale and then exhale. Lower all the way down to the mat. All right, from here, you'll just slip one arm through and gently roll onto your back. Recenter your spine on the mat. I'm going to offer Supta Baddha Konasana as tonight's Shavasana-like pose. Soles of the feet together, knees open out wide. If you want to take Shavasana, you can do that. Heels of the hands, bring them as high up to that femur hip point connection, fingers out towards your knees, and then gently press and straighten your arm. As you inhale, ease up. And as you exhale, straighten slightly. You can move the heels of the hands more into the psoas, or find more of a spinal extension, which will target more of that head of the psoas in your low back. So just finding that very gentle movement, straightening of the arms with each exhale, and bending of the elbows with each inhale. Take 3 more breaths here. And slowly bring your hands to the outside of your knees. Gently close your knees. Draw them in towards your chest and give yourself a gentle squeeze. Letting your hips pull up off of the mat. And then dropping your knees to one side. Push yourself up into a comfortable seat. Switch the cross of your legs, just for good practice. Hands to your knees, sit up nice and tall. Exhale.